We're doing revision, and today our revision will be focusing on service costing. And we're saying service costing is where you're providing services as an entity or organization. And then you need to determine the total cost of a service and probably what you charge your customers for the services you're offering. So we want to do a number of questions, and we'll start with May 2018 question number 4B. The question reads, Karibu Cottages Limited operates 3 types of seats for customers, namely standard, deluxe, and luxury. So the following information is provided. The number of seats for each type are standard 100, deluxe we have 30, and luxury we have 20. Note number 2, the rent for deluxe suite is to be fixed as 1.5 times the standard suite, and the luxury as twice the standard suite. The occupancy level for each suite is as follows. We have peak seasons and off-peak seasons, standard suites, deluxe suites, and luxury suites. We have been given the percentages for peak seasons and off-peak seasons. Note number 4, the expenses are as follows. Room attendant wages per day when occupied. We have been given for standard, peak season, off-peak season, 20 for standard and 30 for off-peak seasons. We have deluxe, 30, 45, and luxury, 40, 60. We have also lighting, heating, and power for full months when occupied is as follows. Suites, lighting, and power. So we've been given for standard, deluxe, and luxury. Other costs in bracket annual, staff salaries, 2,200,000. That's annual cost. Repairs and renovations, 420,000. Linen and laundry, 450,000. Interior decoration, 500,000. Santries, 315, 500. Annual depreciation is charged on straight line basis as follows. Building, 14 million. Furniture and fixtures, 1 million. Air conditioners, 2 million. And then number 5, note number 5, peak season is assumed to be 7 months and off-peak season 5 months in a year. 1 month is taken to have 30 days. Number 6, profit including interest on investment is 25% on cost. So the advice on the amount of rent to be charged for each type of suite per day. So they want you to advise the amount of rent to be charged for each suite per day. So for you to be able to get the amount of money that you charge for the suite per day, you need first of all to accumulate the costs. You need to get the total cost first. So in other words, when it comes to service costing, they're asking you, they're testing your ability to accumulate the cost. So before we now accumulate the total costs, we get the total cost per annum. We're going to get the cost of some specific cost here. And the first one, you're going to start with the wages. We are going to start with wages. So we're going to start here with the standard suite here. We have the standard suite here. We have the standard here. So we have been told off-peak seasons, we have 100. A suite is a room that can be occupied by a person. So we have 100. We have been told here we have how many rooms? We have 100 for standard, 100 rooms, isn't it? So 50%. So we need to know here we have peak seasons here, off-peak seasons, off-peak season here. We have been told it is 50%. It is 50. So we're going to take 50% over 100 times 100. So 50% of 100, we want to know the rooms out of the 100. When is it? How many days or how many rooms out of the 100 rooms? When is the peak seasons on the off peak? So 50% of 100 is how much? 50, isn't it? And peak seasons Peak season is how much? 90%, isn't it? 90% of 100, which is how much? So 90 days. So peak season days, we need to determine the peak season days. Peak season days. Peak season days. We've been told out of this 12 months in a year, out of the 12 months in a year, 7 months are peak seasons, isn't it? 7 months are peak season. And out of this, every month has 30 days. So we want to know the days, the peak season days in a year. So every month has 30 days, and we have 7 months in a year that has peak seasons. So you're going to multiply 30. Those are number of days in a month. And then you multiply by 7. So these are 210 days of peak season. So we are going to get the standard cost. We're going to get the standard cost specific. They are specific items. Specific items. We have cost that combines all the suites, and then we have specific cost per suite. So we're going to get the specific cost per suite, and then we're going to combine them with the overall cost. So we have standard cost. So here we're going to get the standard cost. The standard cost specific. So this is specific for standard. This is specific for standard. Specific for standard. So we have peak seasons here. We have peak seasons. And then we have off-peak. And then we have total. So the first cost here that is specific for this, we have room attendant wages. Room attendant. That is the first specific. So how do we get the peak seasons? Peak seasons, we've been told is 20 shillings per day, isn't it? 20 shillings per day for room attendant, isn't it? So we have been told we have 90 rooms. We have 90 rooms. So you're going to multiply 90, and then you multiply by 20 times 210. So these are the 90 rooms. Each room, every day we pay 20 shillings, isn't it? And then we have 210 days. So how much do you get total here? So here we get 378,000. And then here we have 50 rooms, isn't it? Is it 50? 50 times 30 times 150, which is how much? 25? So this one will give us 225,000. So we add this one plus this to get the total cost for room attendant wages, standard cost specific, both for off-peak and peak seasons. 600. So the total cost here for room attendant, 603, both for peak season and off-peak seasons. Then lighting now here. Lighting, we have been told the cost per month. You've been given the cost per month. So for peak seasons, we have 90 rooms. 90 rooms. True? This one is the one that we've determined here. And then it's 400 per month. 400 per, and then we multiply by 7. So we have been told 7 months are peak seasons. So the total will be how much? $252,000 here. So this one will give you 252,000. So we do the same to this one. So this one is going to be 50. These are number of rooms times 400. That is cost per room times 5. Those are the number of months in a year. How much is that? Hmm? So this one will give you 100,000. Total here. So this one will give you 352,000 here. And then we have power. So remember, we are analyzing the cost, specific cost per category of the seat. So we have power. So power is 200 shillings per, according to the question, 200 shillings per room per month. So this is 90 times 200 times 7. So that will give you how much? This one will give you 126,000. And then we have off-peak. 50 is the number of rooms, and each room consumes power of 200, and then 5. How much do you get? You get 50. So the total here will be how much? So this one will give you 176,000. So the total cost here, we get the total here. So we add here, and then we also add here, and then we get add here. So what is the total here? This is 11. This one, 1131,000. 1131,000. $756,000. $375,000. So now will be the total specific cost for standard suite. That is the specific cost for standard. Then we are going to get the specific cost for deluxe. So here we're going to get the deluxe. Specific cost for deluxe here. So we're going to get the specific cost for deluxe. We'll also have the peak seasons and off-peak seasons. But before we get the off-peak and off-peak, so peak seasons we have been told is 80% and off-peak is 20%. So the occupancy level for each suite is as follows. So we have 30, the number of suites for each type. So we have 30, and then peak seasons is 80%. Off-peak season is 20%. So off-peak season, is peak seasons, we have been told is 80%. So peak seasons here, so we have peak seasons. Peak season is 80%. Peak season is 80% here. Peak season is 80%. Peak seasons. So it will be 80% of 30. And then off peak. It will be 20% of 30. So this one is 24. And the other one? So these are 6. So we're going to get the cost. So those are the cost under the off-peak and peak seasons. Cost under the peak and off-peak seasons. These are specific costs for deluxe. Specific costs for deluxe. So we have peak seasons here. And then we have off-peak season. So we have peak seasons and off-peak. So we have, the first one is room attendants. Room attendants, wages. Room attendant wages. So it will be 30. So it will be 30. Those are the number of rooms. And they are also paying how much? 24. Is it 24? For peak seasons. They're paying 24, isn't it? The wage per day is 30 shillings. The number of days will still be 210. Times 210. 210 here times 24. Yes. %20 off? Why 45? So these are the number of rooms, true? And this is the number of days in a year, because the wages are paid per day. This is a number of rooms, sorry. This is the wage rate per day, 30 shillings, sorry. And these are the number of days. The wage is paid per room of 24 shillings, so of 30 shillings, 30 shillings. This is the rate, and these are the number of days in the year. This one, you have done it. This is the peak seasons days. And then these are the number of rooms. So how much do you get here? So this one will give you 151, 200. The other one is off peak. It will be how much? So it will be 45, isn't it? 45 is the number of days. 45 is the 45 is the wage rate. So 45 here is the wage rate, and then you multiply by 150. These are the number of days in a year, and then you multiply by 6. These are the rooms. Total 40. So this one will give you 40,500, and then you get the total here. You get the total here. So you add this plus this, you get this. So this one will give you 191,700. That is room attendant. Then we have lighting here. Lighting, the total, it is 60 per room, isn't it? Per month. Is it 600? It is 600 per room, isn't it? So it will be 600 times 7 times 24. So this is the amount of money that is paid on a lighting per room per month. So you multiply by 7 months, peak seasons months, and then you multiply by the rooms, 24. So how much do you get here? 100. So here you get 100, 800. The next one is 600. 600 times 5, isn't it? Times 5 times 6. So you get how much? $18. So this one you get 18,000. So you add this plus this. So this one will give you 118,800. And then you go to the power here. You go to the power. Power, they are spending 300 shillings, isn't it? So this one will be 300 per month times 7 times 24. Which will give you how much? So this one will be 5,400. The other one is 300. 300 times 5 times 6. Give you how much? So this one will give you 9,000. And then you add the 2. 59,400. So these are specific costs for this suite, for deluxe. These are the specific costs. The specific costs. So we add them together. Particularly, we're interested with the final column for the total. So we add them together in order to get the total cost for the last one is 369. 369,900. This is the total cost here. And this other one, sorry, 302,400. 59,400. So here we come here luxury. We come here for luxury suites. Luxury suites. So occupied suites, peak seasons. It will be how much? Occupied suites, peak seasons, it will be 60% of 20, isn't it? So 60% of 20. So in other words, we have 20 rooms that are specifically set for luxury, isn't it? And out of these 20 rooms, only 60% of the rooms. So we want to know the number of the percentage when the percentage of the peak season. So this one will be how much? This will be, is it? This one will be 12, eh? Occupied suite off-peak seasons. So it will be 40% of 20, which is how much? Eh? It is 20%, not it's 20% of 40, isn't it? Eh? Is it 20? Which is how much? 4, eh? Is it so? So we get the specific cost. We get the specific cost. So we are getting the specific cost, remember. So the first cost here is the room attendant. So we have room attendant wages. Room attendant wages. Here we have the peak seasons. We have the peak seasons here. Off-peak season. Off-peak seasons and total. So we have the peak seasons. The peak season is going to be 40 times. So it will be going to be 40 times 12 times to 10, which is how much? $100. So this one will give us 100, 800. Here we're going to have 60 times 150 times 4, which is how much? This one will give you how much? So this one will give you 36,000. So we add these two in order to get the total. We add these two for us to get the totals. So here we get 136,800. And then we have lighting. Lighting, how much? Is 800 per month per. So 800 per month per room. So it is 800 shillings times 7 times 12. So this one will get 67,200. I hope. And then the other one is 800 times 5 times 4. How much do you get? So here you get 16,000. Total. $83,200. Then we have power here. Power is how much? 400 times 7 times 12. What is 400? 400, the power charge per month per room. We have power charge per month per room. We have 7 months that contains peak seasons. And then we have 12 rooms that are occupied for peak seasons. So how much? 33. The other one is 400 times 400 times 5 times 4, which is, so this one will give you 8,000. And then when you add the total, what do you get? So this one will give you 41,600. And then we get the totals. So those are specific costs for the categories of the suits that they're having. So they have 3 categories. Some people might confuse. Why are we saying here 12? So what is happening here is that these guys have 20 rooms that they are specifically set aside for luxury suites, isn't it? And then there are 2 seasons. They have 2 seasons. They have the peak seasons and off-peak seasons. So out of the 2 seasons, out of these rooms, peak seasons, they are only occupied 60%, isn't it? So how many rooms are occupied during peak seasons? So it is 12 rooms. And off-peak seasons, how many rooms are occupied? It is only 4 rooms, isn't it? Out of the 20, isn't it? So that is what is happening. Then now we come out and find the cost during the peak seasons and off-peak seasons. Okay, that is what is happening. So now here, we're going to get the total costs. We write Karibu Cottage Limited statement of profit or loss. So we're going to write here Karibu Cottage Limited, Karibu Cottage Limited. Statement of profit or loss. We're going to get statement of profit stroke loss. Statement of profit stroke loss for the whole year. So we're going to get the statement of. So we have room attendant cost here. Room attendant cost. So we're going to get the room attendant cost across. So here we're going to get room attendant cost for room attendant cost is 6 or 3,000. 6 or? So we have the first one was how much? Standard. So we have standard 603. So we're going to get this one 603, 603,000. This is there for peak for a standard. And then we are going to add 191,700, isn't it? 191. we're going to add 191,700. Where am I getting these figures? This was the cost for standard. This is the cost for deluxe, and this is the cost for luxury. Then we add 136,800. How much do you get? That is the room attendant cost. $931. So here, 931, 500. And then we have lighting. So we have lighting cost. So we are going to add 352,000 plus 118,800 plus 83,200. So we're going to add those. We're going to add those. 554. So this is 554,000. That is, and then we have power cost here. We have power cost. So power cost, we're going to take 176,000 plus 59,400 plus 41,600. That is the power cost. Two. So this one is going to be 277,000. So that is the power cost. And then now we are going to take the total, the other overall costs. So for instance, we had staff salaries. Staff salaries there. Staff salaries. Staff salaries, the total cost was 2,200,000. This one was for the whole 2,200,000. We're going to add that one there. We have repairs and innovations. Repairs and innovations. So the total cost is 420,000. And then we have linen and laundry, isn't it? Linen and laundry. Linen and laundry, 450,000. So we're going to add 450,000. And then we have sundry. Sundries, 315, 500. And then now we have depreciation building. Sorry? Interior decoration, how much is it? Interior decoration. Interior decorations, how much? 500,000. And then we have depreciation building. Depreciation building, how much is it? 5% of 14 million. So 5% of 14 million. So that one will give you how much? 700. So this one will be 700,000. And then we have depreciation, furniture, which is how much? 10% of 1 million. So that one will be give you how much? So that one will give you 100,000. And then there is also depreciation error, which is 10% of 2 million. That one will give you how much? So this one will give you 200,000. So those are the only costs. So basically here what you are doing, we had specific costs that had been attached to each and every category of a suite. And then we had cumulative costs that covered the entire suite. So we come here and get the total cost of all the operation. So we add all these figures here to get the total cost. So here we get the total cost. We get the total cost. $6,648,000. So that one will be the total cost. That one will be the total cost. And then profit is 25% of the total cost, isn't it? So profit we've been told is 25%. 25% of 66,48,000. So this one will be 62,000. So we get the selling price. We get the selling price here. We get the selling price. $23. So this one will give us 83,10,000. So remember, this is the selling price. This is a charge for the whole operation. This is a charge for the whole operations. But the question required us to determine the question wanted us to determine advice on the amount of rent to be charged for each type of suite per day. So this is a cumulative charge for the whole suites. This is a cumulative. So we need to get the charge per suite. So how do we do that? So here we have been told in note number 2, the rent of deluxe suite is to be fixed at 1.5 times the standard suite, and that of luxury twice the standard suite, isn't it? So here we say here, so we say assume standard charge, so we say let X represent the standard charge. So we say here let X represents the charge for standard, the standard charge. So let X represent the standard charge, and we let 1.5x represent the deluxe charge, isn't it? Deluxe charge. And then let 2x represent the luxury charge. So we say, so that one is, so x plus, so here x plus 1.5x plus 2x is equals to 83,10,000. 83,10,000. So this is x plus 1.5x plus 2x is equals to 4. 4.5x is equals to 8310,000. So x will be how much? So x here, you divide by both sides by 4.5. 4.5. So x is how much? $1846. 1846 666.667. So that one will be the x, isn't it? So that is the rent for standard, isn't it? So this is the rent for standard. This is the rent for standard. This is the rent for standard. So rent to be charged daily. So rent to be charged daily. So rent to be charged daily. Rent to be charged daily. So we take this amount. This is the whole charge for the whole year. This is the charge for the whole year. So you divide by the number of days. So this one is this is the rent charge, isn't it? So we multiply by, we divide by, this one we divide by 360. Why 360? And then we divide by 100 because those are the rooms, isn't it? That is the charge per room. We have 100. This is we get the daily charge. This is the annual charge. We divide by 360 to get the daily, and then we divide by the number of rooms, isn't it? We divide by the number of rooms. Are we together? Sorry? You see, it is the same. So we still need to divide by 100. So that is the reason why I'm just dividing here to get the daily charge. Then you divide by 100 to get per room. How much is it? 51. So take 8. 51, 43, 51.3. So that is, so this is the amount here you indicated. This is the annual charge. This is the rental charge per year. So we need to get the rental charge per day. And of course, now that one you need to also to allocate it per room, isn't it? And then we have 100 rooms, isn't it? So we also divide the value that we get, we also divide it per, we allocate it per room. So that is the deluxe. This one, we don't need this one. And then we have the rent charge for deluxe. So rent charge for deluxe. Rent charge for deluxe is equals to, it will be 1.5 times. Yeah. So it's going to be 1.5 times 1846 666.667. So this one we're going to give you how much? $27,70,000, isn't it? And then now rent to be charged daily, isn't it? Rent to be charged daily. Rent to be charged daily. So it's going to be this amount. You divide by 360. And then you divide by the number of rooms. How many rooms do we have for deluxe? 30, isn't it? So we divide that one and then we get that figure there. 256, 256.48. So this one is going to be shillings 256.48. And then here we go to rent charge for luxury. It's going to be 2 times 18,466.667. Sorry? 3693 333 point. So this is the rent to be charged daily. So it's going to be 3693 over how many rooms? So that one will bring us to the end of that question. That one will bring us to the end of that question. 513. So that is how we do that. So when it comes to service costing, your ability to interpret the question is very key. But bottom line, they are only asking you to accumulate the cost of providing services and perhaps what you charge. So your ability to interpret the question is very important. So also do another one. December 2009 question number 2. 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 So the reason why we're dividing by 360 is this figure that we have here. Those are annual figures. Remember, we determined the total annual costs, the annual selling price. So this is the amount that we're indicating here is for annual. So we need to get it per day. And a day has 300, a year has 360 days. So we divide that one by 360. So that is the reason why we are dividing by 360. So we are doing December 2009 question number 2. Some of us might not be having this question. So I have already shared it in our group WhatsApp. So if you go there, you'll be able to get the question. So I'll read the question, then we do it together. I'll read the question. Remember, we're doing service costing. Service costing, you're saying your ability to interpret, to accumulate the cost is very important. So December 2009 question number 2, that is what we are doing. December 2009 question number 2. So the question reads, the Luxury Hotels Limited is used for conference bookings and private guest bookings. The conference bookings include bookings for rooms each week, while the other remaining rooms are used for private guest bookings. So the following data relates to private guest bookings for a 10-week period. So we have week 1 to week 10 given in one column, then rooms available for private guesting. And then the other one, rooms available for and then average stay per night, average stay per guest in nights. Additional information number 1, variable cost of accommodating each guest is 1,750. Variable cost per week per room is available is 5,600. The general fixed cost for private guest booking per week is 8,800 shillings. The hotel charges 3,000 per person per night for accommodation for private guest bookings. Number 5, the hotel has been experiencing a high rate of staff turnover over the last 12 months. And number 6, some of the costs for private guest bookings vary with the number of guests, regardless of the length of stay of their stay, while others vary with the number of rooms available in any week. So required, the total cost per guest per night for private guest bookings over the 10 days period. And then number B, contribution and profit for private guest bookings for the 10-week period. And lastly, C, highlight 4 possible reasons for high rate of turnover in the hotel. So total marks 20. Total marks 20. Total marks 20. So the other one is the number of guests. The second column, the number of guests, okay? Number of guests. Number of guests. So December 2009 question number 2. December 2009 question number 2. This is where we're doing. December 2009 question number 2. 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 So here we have weeks. Here we have weeks. And then we have rooms. We have rooms. And then we have number of guests. We have number of guests. Number of guests. We also have average stay. We have the average stay here. We have the average stay and then guest nights. Guest nights. So week 1, the first week here, how many rooms do we have? We have 55 rooms. How many number of guests do we have? 198. Average stay, 2 point. So guest nights, we multiply by, so we multiply, so this one is, these are nights. Say these are N. You can say these are N, and this is A, average. So you can say like that. So to get guest nights, we multiply N times A to get the guest nights. So the average stay, so we want to see, and the number of guests. So we want to get how many? 98 times 198 times 2.1. Sorry? 415.8. That is week 1. And then we have week 2. How many rooms? So we have 60. Number of guests, 170. Average stay, 2.6. So the average guest nights, how many nights? 400. So 442 here. And then we have week number 3. How many rooms? How many rooms? 70? 72. So we have 72 rooms here. Number of guests? 462. Average stay? 1.4. 646? 646.8. And then we have week 4. How many? 80. Number of guests? 381. Average stay? 3.2. The guest nights? So this was 12, 19.2. 5. How many? 44. And then 83, which is 5.6. How many do we get? 4? 464.8. The number 6. How many rooms? 62. How many number of guests? 164. Average stay? 3.4. Guest nights? 557.6. And then we have 7, which is 80. 348. This is 2.6. 904.8. And then we have number 8. Number 8. How many guests? 54. Number of guests? 205. 1.7. Total? 348. And then we have number 9. Number 9, how many do we have? 80. 442. 1 point. And then this is 795.6. And lastly, 10. How many rooms? 24. 84. 3.2. When you multiply, 268.8. 268.8. So we get the totals downwardly. We get the totals. So we add them downwardly to get the totals. $62. The last one. 62. This one. 62 or 60, 63. So this one is 60, 63.9. And this other one? Eh? 27? Which one? Oh, no, sorry, we need this too. We don't want this, sorry. Anyone who has done any of this? $25? So 25, 37. So now this one is 6, 11. So that is a breakdown. That is the breakdown. So we get the total cost. We get the total cost. We get the total cost here. We'll get the total cost. So we've been told the variable cost per guest, the variable cost per guest, isn't it? So we have variable cost here. Variable cost per guest. So that is the reason why we needed this column for number of guests, isn't it? So we need to know the variable cost per guest. So the total number of guests that we had is 25, 37. And the average cost per guest was 1750. So that one will give you how much? So this one will be 44, 39, 750. That is the variable cost per guest. Then variable cost per room. Variable cost per room. So it is 5,600, isn't it? So the number of rooms is 611. That is the reason why so 611 times 25, 5,600. How much do you get? $34, 21,600. That is the variable cost per room. And then we have fixed cost. We have the fixed cost here. The fixed cost, we have been told in the question, the fixed cost, note number 3, the general fixed cost for private guest bookings per week is, so this one was private booking, isn't it? So it is 8,100 per week, isn't it? So we multiply 8,100 times 10. So 10 times, so this one is 10 times 8,100. So what do you get? 81,000, isn't it? So this one will be 81,000. So these are the total cost. So how much is that? Yeah, we of course, you add this one, this plus this plus this. $79, 43, 42, 350. So those are the total costs. So now what does the question require us to do? The question wants us to determine the total cost per guest per night, the total cost per guest per night for private guest booking for the 10 weeks. So that is total 10 marks. So this remember, these are the data for the private bookings. What we have been doing here, the analysis we've been doing here for private bookings. So the total cost that we have arrived at is, this is a cost, the total cost, this data here represents the private bookings, isn't it? Are we together? So these are the total costs for private bookings. So the question, cost per guest per night, cost per guest per, so cost per guest per night. So that is what the question wants us to do. So the total cost is 79.42, 350, and then we divide by 60, 69.9. So these are the number of guests per night, guest nights, isn't it? So we had 108 guests the first week. They stayed for 2.1. How much you get? 1309. 1309. 13. So cost per guest per night. That is the cost per guest per night. So that is what the question wanted. That is what the question wanted us to do. And then the question also wanted us to do what? Contribution and profit for private guest booking for 10 weeks period. So the hotel charges 3,000 per person per night. The hotel charges, how much is the charge per person? The hotel charges 3,000 per person per night for accommodating for private guest booking, isn't it? So it will be 3,000 times. No, 3,000. Oh, so it will be, they want contributions, contribution margin, contribution, eh? So contribution is P minus V, isn't it? Is it variable cost? All of these are variable costs. The variable costs are this, isn't it? So add this plus this. So we get the V. So contribution margin here, it is P minus V. Our P is standing for selling price per night, isn't it? 3,000, isn't it? And then our V is cost to. So variable, we add this plus this, isn't it? And then we divide by this. You have added this plus this. So you get 12. So so this one is going to be 1296.4. So 3,000. So CM here is going to be 3,000 minus, which is 1,703. So that is the CM, isn't it? So the question also wanted us to do what? So contribution per and profit private guest for the 10-week period, isn't it? So that is the contribution. That is a contribution, isn't it? But this one represents the 10 weeks already. This one represents the 10. So we need to, that is the contribution per person, per guest, isn't it? So we need to multiply by this, and then we multiply, we minus. So the profit here, the profit will be 1703.6 times the number of guests, which is 2537, minus fixed cost, which is 81,000. That one will be the profit. That is the contribution. That is the contribution to the number of guests, isn't it? The number of guests is this one. And then we minus the fixed cost, we get the profit. Get the profit. How much? 44, 42, 40, 987.2. Are we together? But that one, I think we have not done it correctly. Are we done it correctly? Or alternatively, we can. So 3,000 times the total revenue will be 3,000 per guest, isn't it? 3,000 times. I think the best way is to prepare it in the income statement format. The best way is the income statement here. We'll have the income statement. So we'll prepare it in form of income statement here to get the profit. Income statement. I think this one will be the best way. So the other one, so we get the sales here. So it is 3,000 times 20. It was how many? 25? 2537, the total sales value. The total sales value, isn't it? And then we less variable cost. We less variable cost. We less variable cost, which is variable cost for room, variable cost, isn't it? So here we have variable cost per guest, variable cost per guest, and variable cost, variable room cost, variable room cost. So this one was, the total here was 44, 39, 750. And this was 34, 21, 600. And then now this one will give us the contribution. This is a good contribution. And then we less fixed cost. I think this one will be the best way to approach that thing. Then here we get the net profit. We get the net profit. So when you multiply the first one, what do you get? 7,611,000, like that. Then we multiply this to get the contribution here. We deduct that one to get the contribution. Get the contribution there. Negative. So that is a loss. That is a loss. So right there, the loss. Hii tumefanya mzuri kweli. So the sales wametuambia nini? We go back to the question. What does the question require us to do? The question is saying we determine what? The contribution and profit are for private guests. For private, tulipata private guests walikuwa ngapi? Guest nights zilikuwa ngapi? Guest nights zilikuwa? Those are the guest nights, isn't it? So here I was supposed to divide, to multiply here by 60. This is 60.9. Those are the guest nights. So this figure here will, $18,191,700. So I think this one contribution, this will be the right. This is a profit contribution. How much? 10 million? 330? And then the profit? 10, 249, 350. So this one will generate profits. So the last portion of the question requires to highlight 4 possible reasons for high rate of staff turnover. Staff turnover means the rate at which staff comes and go. So the rate of change of staff composition, the rate of change of the composition of the workforce in a place. What would cause the high staff turnover? The composition. 1, poor remuneration or poor wages. 2, so those are the causes of high labor turnover: poor remuneration, poor working conditions, strict supervision, lack of motivation. So those are the reasons as to why people will come and go. Lack of motivation. So that is the question. Before we close today's session, I want us to briefly review a question on variance. So that is how we approach questions of service costing. So basically, how you interpret the question is very important. How you interpret. So the May 2018 question number 5. May 2018 question number 5. C, particularly C. I want us to do those questions on May 2018. May 2018 question number 5. C, on variance, just briefly on variance, just a reminder on variance. Remember, you're doing revisions. So you're doing revisions. So we want to look at a question on variance. So make sure you do a lot of revision, budgets, all the kinds of budgets. Make sure that you are well equipped on budgets and variance, marginal costing, activity-based costing. Those are the exams areas. So ensure that you revise on those areas thoroughly before you go for exams. So here, this May 2018 question number 5C, May 2018 question number 5C. This question tested on variance. The question tested on variance. So it read, the standard cost card for the production of a component Y is as follows: material 1 kg at 4 shillings per unit, labor is 24 hours, in bracket 100 units at 8 shillings per hour. Variable overheads is 48,000 for budgeted period. Fixed overheads 120,000 for budget period. Output 24,000 units. Details for production of 2,000 units as follows: material you issued 2,000 kgs at 3 shillings, 3.5 per kg. Actual production 1,800 units. Actual wages 480 hours at 8.5 per hour. Actual variable overheads 4,000. Actual fixed overheads. So you're required to compute the material usage variance. So the first requirement here is material usage variance. So you need to write the formula here. You need to know the formula: standard price, standard quantity minus actual quantity. That is the formula. That is the formula. Material usage variance. So that is the formula. So the standard price is 4 shillings per unit. 4 shillings 4 per kg. So the standard price here is 4. And then the standard quantity. So according to the standard, according to the standard, 1 kg is required to produce 1 unit. That is the standard. Now, if you're producing 1,800 units, how many kgs do you need? How many standard quantities do you need? The normal standard for 1 kg is, for 1 unit is 1 kg. So you're going to multiply 1 times the number of units produced, which is 1,800. And then you deduct by the actual quantity used of material. So you're comparing the standard quantity of material, actual quantity of material used, which is 2,000 kgs. So here 2,000 kgs. So what do you get? So we have, so this one 800 advance. That is number one. And then number two, labor rate variance. Labor rate variance. So this is actual hours in bracket standard rate minus actual rate. That is the formula. Standard actual hours. So the actual hours were 480 hours. That one is given. Actual wages 480 hours. So this one will be 480. Standard rate, it is for labor 8 shillings per hour. So that is the standard rate per hour. Actual rate is how much? 808.5. So 8.5 per hour. So how much do you get? So 240 advance. 240 advance. Number three, we have variable overhead efficiency variance. Variable overhead efficiency variance. So it's variable overhead rate, isn't it, per hour? Variable overhead rate per? Variable overhead rate per hour over variable overhead absorption rate. Variable overhead rate. So the variable overhead rate per hour, or variable overhead rate in bracket standard hours minus standard hours minus actual hours. So variable overhead rates. So variable absorption rate. So variable overhead rate here, variable overhead rate here is going to be the budgeted overhead cost, the budgeted overheads here, budgeted overheads, variable overheads over budgeted hours, over the hours. So the budgeted variable overheads, according to the question, it was 48,000 shillings. So you're going to multiply 48,000 over budgeted hours. So in 24.5 hours, we divide by 100. So it is 0.25. So it is 0.25. Where am I getting 0.25? So we've been told 25 hours for 100 units, 25 hours for 25 hours for 100 units, isn't it? What about 1 unit, isn't it? So you divide, you get 0.25. And then you multiply by the total number of units. The total number of units, which is 24,000. That is the number of hours. How much is this? Variable overhead rate. How much? So you get 8, isn't it? So this one you get 8. So according to, so this one is 8 in bracket standard hours. Standard hours. The standard hours is variable overheads is standard hours is going to be how much is going to be standard hours? .25 times 24 is how much? 8. Huh? 0.25 times sorry, standard hours is 6. Standard hours, you're going to multiply 1800. So we had said how many hours? How many hours per unit? How many hours per unit? .25 hours, isn't it? 0.25 hours times 1800 is how much? $1,800 times 0.25 is how much? So the standard hours, you see 1 unit, we need 0.25 hours. No, that was the budgeted. The actual production was 1800. For 1 unit, they had allocated 0.25 for 1 unit. So now 0.25, it was the allocation for 1 unit hours, isn't it? And then now we multiply by the actual units, isn't it? And then we minus by the actual hours, which was 480. So what do you get? Eh? 240 advance. Or, this, how many hours are this? For 50. So these are the hours that you had allocated for them to work, and they worked more than, this one will be advanced, isn't it? That one will be advanced. And then now fixed overhead volume variance. 4. Fixed overhead volume variance. Fixed overhead volume variance, isn't it? Fixed overhead volume variance. So what is the formula? Volume. Budgeted units minus actual units. So what is the formula for fixed overhead volume variance? So fixed overhead, it is fixed overhead rate per hour, fixed overhead rate per hour over the budgeted. Is it budgeted units? Budgeted budgeted units, budgeted hours, budgeted units minus, is it actual units? That is the formula. Can you check the formula for that one? Confirm the formula, please. Into so it is fixed overhead cost per unit budgeted use minus actual. So we are right. So fixed overhead cost per unit is how much? Fixed overhead is how much? Fixed overhead cost per unit. Fixed overhead cost per unit here. Budgeted fixed overhead cost per unit. So it will be 120,000 divided by 24,000, isn't it? In bracket, budgeted units how much? 24,000 minus actual unit is 1,800 units. So that one will get how much? So that one, the computation of each variance was allocated 3 marks. So the total marks allocation was 3 times 1, 2, 3 times 4, 12. So those are a lot of marks. Advance 111,000. Favorable. This is 24 advance. So 100. So that is variance. We had to do some variances there plus. So you can keep on, you can keep on revising, do a lot of questions on so many areas. You also do some theories. In case you have difficulties, you let me know. Particularly emphasize on budgets. Ensure that you revise thoroughly on budgets. You can also do thorough revision on standard costing, activity-based costing, and overheads. So in case we have other opportunity, we'll review other questions, but for now, we've come to an end of our class. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention.